Welcome to Buddha's Odyssey, your gateway to timeless wisdom for navigating modern life with mindfulness and compassion. Let me ask you, have you ever paused to reflect on how the words you speak shape your world and the people around you? Words have the power to heal and inspire, but they can also harm and divide. What if you could learn to speak in a way that fosters harmony and peace? In this video, we'll explore the Buddha's teachings on mindful speech, focusing on 4 types of harmful speech to avoid: lying, divisive speech, harsh words, and idle chatter. These practical insights are universal and can help anyone seeking more meaningful, compassionate communication. Stay with us as we uncover how these teachings can transform your relationships, mindset, and even your karma. Let's begin this journey toward mindful speech and a more compassionate way of living. Number 1. Lying. Truthfulness, as taught by the Buddha, stands at the very core of integrity and the foundation of harmonious relationships. The Buddha emphasized that even the smallest deviation from the truth can lead to significant consequences, affecting not only the person telling the lie but also those around them. To grasp the depth of this teaching, let us explore the implications of lying in different contexts and the universal lesson it provides for modern life. In Buddhist philosophy, truthfulness is regarded as one of the essential moral precepts. The Buddha highlighted that lying corrupts the mind and leads to negative karma. When someone lies, they create a ripple effect that goes far beyond the immediate falsehood. Lying disrupts trust, the invisible thread that holds relationships and communities together. Without trust, relationships crumble, and even the most profound connections become fragile. The Buddha taught that truthfulness does not simply mean refraining from lying. It also involves speaking in a way that reflects sincerity, clarity, and respect for others. For instance, a person who distorts the truth or conceals important facts to manipulate others may not utter an outright lie, but they are still violating the principle of truthfulness. The Buddha urged his followers to cultivate right speech, a practice that includes abstaining from falsehood while embracing honesty and transparency. In today's digital age, lying has taken on new dimensions. With the advent of social media, the spread of misinformation and white lies has become alarmingly common. A simple lie can now travel faster and reach more people than ever before, amplifying its harmful effects. For example, a rumor shared online can tarnish someone's reputation within hours, even if it is later proven false. The digital era has made it easier to manipulate information and harder to discern the truth, making the Buddha's teachings on truthfulness more relevant than ever. Misinformation not only affects individuals but also erodes trust in institutions and communities. Consider the rise of fake news and its impact on society. When people encounter repeated falsehoods, their ability to trust what they see, read, or hear diminishes, leading to cynicism and division. This is why the Buddha's guidance to live a truthful life is not merely an individual responsibility, it is a societal imperative. Let me tell you the story of Alex, an ambitious professional working in a highly competitive environment. Alex had always dreamed of a promotion, but the opportunities seemed just out of reach. One day, when a key position opened up, Alex decided to embellish their resume with a few harmless exaggerations, thinking it would help secure the role. At first, the plan seemed to work. Alex not only landed the promotion but also gained the admiration of colleagues. However, over time, inconsistencies in Alex's story started to emerge. Co-workers grew suspicious, and eventually, the truth came to light. As a result, Alex lost not only the promotion but also the respect of the team and, ultimately, their job. This story reminds us that even a small lie can lead to significant consequences. While the allure of immediate rewards may be tempting, the cost of losing trust and integrity often far outweighs any short-term gains. Lying does not only affect relationships and external trust, it also takes a toll on the liar's mental and emotional well-being. Studies in modern psychology have shown that lying triggers stress, anxiety, and guilt. When a person tells a lie, they must often fabricate additional lies to cover their tracks, creating a cycle of deceit that becomes increasingly difficult to maintain. This cycle can lead to significant emotional strain and even feelings of isolation, as the liar becomes entangled in their web of dishonesty. The Buddhist teachings point to a profound truth: lying is not merely a moral failing but also a source of suffering for the liar. By contrast, living truthfully fosters inner peace and self-respect, as one no longer carries the burden of deception. The practice of truthfulness allows individuals to live authentically, without fear of being found out. The lesson to be drawn from the Buddha's teachings and modern examples is clear: truth builds enduring trust, while lies, no matter how insignificant they may seem, create cracks that weaken relationships over time. Truthfulness requires courage, particularly in situations where honesty might lead to uncomfortable consequences. However, the strength of a relationship, whether personal or professional, is often determined by the ability to communicate honestly and openly. To practice truthfulness in daily life, one can start by reflecting on the intention behind their words. Before speaking, ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? These questions serve as a moral compass, ensuring that speech aligns with the principles of honesty and compassion. The habit of lying often stems from fear, insecurity, or a desire to gain an advantage over others. Similarly, other forms of unwholesome speech, such as divisive speech, are often driven by negative emotions like jealousy or anger. As we transition to the next section, we will explore how divisive speech can harm relationships and communities, and why the Buddha emphasized the importance of unity in words and actions. Number 2. Divisive speech. The Buddha's teachings on divisive speech are deeply rooted in the understanding that words have the power to either unite or divide. Divisive speech, as the Buddha explained, involves any form of communication that creates rifts between people. This includes gossip, backbiting, or deliberately speaking in a way that causes mistrust or animosity. In a world that is increasingly connected yet often polarized, the importance of this teaching cannot be overstated. The Buddha regarded divisive speech as a significant barrier to harmony, both within individual relationships and in larger communities. He taught that such speech arises from negative mental states like jealousy, anger, or greed. For instance, a person might gossip about a colleague out of envy for their success, or spread rumors to gain favor with someone else. While these actions may bring temporary satisfaction, they ultimately create conflict and suffering. One of the key principles in Buddhism is right speech, which encourages individuals to use words that promote understanding and unity rather than division. The Buddha often illustrated this through metaphors, comparing divisive speech to a sharp knife that cuts through the bonds of friendship and love. Just as a knife causes physical wounds, divisive words leave emotional scars that can take years to heal or may never heal at all. In today's world, divisive speech has taken on new forms, amplified by the reach of social media and instant communication. Gossip, whether shared in person or online, spreads rapidly and can have devastating effects. Consider the impact of workplace gossip. A single rumor can tarnish a person's reputation, create distrust among colleagues, and even jeopardize careers. Similarly, online trolling and negative comments can destroy relationships and foster toxic environments. Another modern manifestation of divisive speech is the spread of misinformation. Whether intentional or accidental, false information often pits groups against one another, fueling animosity and misunderstanding. For example, divisive narratives in politics or media can deepen societal divisions, making it harder for communities to find common ground. To illustrate the harm of divisive speech, let's consider the story of two friends, Sarah and Emily, two best friends who once shared everything. Sarah admired Emily but couldn't help feeling a tinge of jealousy when Emily began achieving great success, earning a promotion, excelling in her hobbies, and becoming the center of admiration in their social circle. Instead of expressing her feelings or celebrating Emily's success, Sarah began planting seeds of doubt in their mutual friends. She would subtly criticize Emily's choices, questioning her intentions, or downplaying her accomplishments. At first, the comments seemed insignificant, but over time, they began to spread. Mutual friends, unsure of what to believe, started viewing Emily differently. When the rumors eventually reached Emily, she was devastated. She confronted Sarah, but Sarah denied any wrongdoing, making Emily feel even more isolated. Their close friendship unraveled, and the tension spread through their circle of friends. People started taking sides, creating divisions where there had once been harmony. Months passed, and Sarah began to reflect on her actions. She saw how her words, born out of jealousy, had caused so much unnecessary pain. Mustering her courage, Sarah reached out to Emily, admitting her mistakes and offering a heartfelt apology. Emily, though hurt, chose forgiveness, but the scars of betrayal lingered. The trust that once formed the foundation of their friendship was not easily rebuilt. Their interactions became polite but distant, and the group dynamic remained fractured, with an underlying tension that never fully healed. This story vividly illustrates how divisive speech, no matter how subtle or unintentional, can have far-reaching consequences. What starts as a moment of jealousy or frustration can spiral into lasting damage, not only hurting the individuals involved but also disrupting the unity of a larger community. It's a reminder that our words hold power to build or to break, and once spoken, they can rarely be undone. Have you ever wondered why people choose words that divide rather than unite? Often, it stems from unresolved emotions like insecurity, jealousy, or anger. Gossiping or speaking ill of others may provide a fleeting sense of superiority or validation, but it is ultimately a form of escapism, a way to avoid confronting one's own feelings or shortcomings. From a psychological perspective, divisive speech can also be a learned behavior. In environments where negativity is normalized, whether in families, workplaces, or social circles, individuals may adopt these patterns of communication without fully realizing their harm. Breaking this cycle requires conscious effort and a commitment to mindfulness in speech. So, how can we overcome the tendency toward divisive speech? The answer lies in choosing words that heal, unite, and inspire. The Buddha taught that speech should foster understanding and reconciliation. Before we speak, it helps to pause and reflect. Will my words bring people closer together or push them further apart? Am I speaking from a place of love and compassion, or from jealousy and anger? One simple yet powerful way to practice this teaching is to avoid gossip entirely. Instead, focus on uplifting conversations that highlight the positive qualities of others. For example, rather than criticizing a colleague, take a moment to share what you admire about their work. Not only does this strengthen relationships, but it also nurtures an environment of mutual respect and support. Understanding the roots of divisive speech is the first step toward transformation. By recognizing the emotional triggers behind our words, such as jealousy or anger, we can make more mindful choices. This awareness is key to fostering connection and harmony. However, divisive speech isn't the only form of harmful communication. While it often stems from insecurity or envy, harsh speech arises from frustration or a need to assert power. Both are damaging, but harsh speech has the added effect of directly wounding the recipient. In the next section, we will explore why the Buddha urged us to refrain from harsh words and how practicing kindness in speech can transform relationships. Number 3. Harsh speech. The Buddha's teachings on harsh speech serve as a timeless reminder of the immense power words hold. Harsh speech, characterized by angry, rude, or abusive words, is not only harmful to others but also deeply detrimental to the person speaking them. The Buddha likened harsh words to weapons, tools that inflict emotional wounds, sometimes more painful and lasting than physical injuries. By exploring the roots, consequences, and alternatives to harsh speech, we can better understand why the Buddha emphasized compassion and mindfulness in our communication. The Buddha taught that harsh speech arises from anger, frustration, and ignorance. It is a reflection of inner turmoil projected outward, often with the intent to hurt or dominate others. Harsh words, he explained, poison relationships and sow seeds of resentment and animosity. Moreover, they perpetuate a cycle of suffering, as the negativity we project often returns to us in the form of strained relationships and conflict. One of the core principles of right speech in Buddhism is to abstain from using words that cause harm. The Buddha encouraged his followers to cultivate speech that is gentle, kind, and uplifting, recognizing that even in moments of anger, words should be chosen with care. Harsh speech not only hurts the listener but also disturbs the speaker's peace of mind, creating negative karma that hinders spiritual growth. In modern life, harsh speech manifests in many forms, from heated arguments and name-calling to the increasingly common phenomenon of online trolling. Social media platforms, while offering opportunities for connection, have also become spaces where people feel emboldened to express anger and frustration without consideration for the impact of their words. The anonymity of the internet often removes the social accountability that typically discourages harsh speech, leading to toxic environments that harm individuals and communities alike. Beyond the digital realm, harsh speech can be found in workplaces, families, and friendships. For example, a frustrated manager might use demeaning language to criticize an employee, intending to assert authority but instead creating a hostile work environment. Similarly, in personal relationships, harsh words spoken in anger can leave deep emotional scars, even when followed by apologies. Consider the story of a father and his teenage son. The father, stressed from work, often spoke to his son in a harsh tone, criticizing his grades and dismissing his efforts. Over time, the son began to withdraw, feeling unworthy and unloved. Their relationship became strained, with the son avoiding conversations and the father feeling disconnected. One day, the father attended a mindfulness workshop where he learned about the impact of harsh words and the importance of compassionate communication. Realizing the harm he had caused, he made a conscious effort to change. Instead of criticizing, he began offering encouragement and constructive feedback. Gradually, their relationship improved, and the son's confidence and academic performance flourished. This story illustrates how harsh speech, even when unintentional, can damage relationships and self-esteem. However, it also shows that with awareness and effort, the cycle of negativity can be broken, paving the way for healing and growth. Harsh speech affects both the speaker and the listener. For the listener, it can lead to feelings of sadness, anger, or inadequacy, potentially causing long-term psychological harm. For the speaker, harsh words often leave a lingering sense of guilt or regret, especially when the damage becomes evident. On a societal level, harsh speech contributes to divisions, mistrust, and hostility, making it harder to build cohesive and supportive communities. From a psychological perspective, harsh speech is often a reaction to unprocessed emotions. People may lash out verbally because they feel unheard, powerless, or overwhelmed. While the immediate release of anger might provide temporary relief, it rarely addresses the root cause of the frustration and often exacerbates the situation. The Buddha's teachings offer a simple yet profound antidote to harsh speech: replace it with words of kindness and understanding. Before speaking, pause and ask yourself, am I speaking from a place of anger or compassion? Will my words heal or harm? Cultivating gentleness in speech does not mean avoiding difficult conversations or ignoring problems. Instead, It involves addressing issues in a way that respects the dignity and feelings of others. For example, instead of yelling at an employee for a mistake, a manager could provide constructive feedback, focusing on solutions rather than blame. This approach not only preserves the individual's self-esteem but also fosters a culture of respect and accountability. One practical technique for reducing harsh speech is to practice mindful breathing before responding in moments of anger. Taking a few deep breaths creates a space between the stimulus, what triggered the anger, and the response, allowing for a more thoughtful and compassionate reaction. While harsh speech wounds others directly, idle chatter often wastes time and distracts from meaningful communication. Both forms of unwholesome speech hinder personal growth and harm relationships, albeit in different ways. As we move to the final section, we will explore how the Buddhist teachings on idle chatter encourage us to use our words purposefully and productively. Number 4. Idle chatter. Idle chatter, as described in the Buddhist teachings, refers to speech that is frivolous, meaningless, or lacking purpose. While it may seem harmless on the surface, idle chatter can erode the quality of our communication and distract us from more meaningful interactions. The Buddha urged his followers to be mindful of their words, emphasizing the importance of speaking with intention and purpose. In a world filled with distractions and constant noise, this teaching holds profound relevance. The Buddha taught that idle chatter wastes valuable time and energy resources that could be better spent on personal growth, helping others, or deepening one's spiritual practice. Idle chatter often arises from a lack of awareness or mindfulness. People engage in meaningless conversations out of habit, boredom, or a desire to fill silence, without considering whether their words add value. Idle chatter is not inherently malicious, but it can still lead to unintended consequences. For instance, excessive small talk can dilute the impact of meaningful conversations, making it harder to connect on a deeper level. Additionally, when idle chatter veers into gossip or speculation, it can become a source of misinformation and misunderstanding. The Buddha encouraged his followers to engage in right speech, which includes speaking words that are truthful, meaningful, and beneficial. This does not mean avoiding casual conversations altogether, but rather being mindful of when speech becomes unproductive or excessive. In the modern era, idle chatter has expanded beyond face-to-face conversations to include digital communication. Social media, messaging apps, and online forums provide endless opportunities for superficial exchanges. While these platforms can foster connection, they can also encourage mindless scrolling and meaningless interactions. Consider the phenomenon of endless debates in comment sections or sharing memes without context. While these activities may be entertaining, they often lack substance and contribute little to personal or collective well-being. The constant stream of information and chatter can also overwhelm the mind, making it harder to focus on what truly matters. Idle chatter is not limited to digital spaces. In workplaces, water cooler conversations often drift into trivial topics, consuming time that could be spent on more meaningful work. Similarly, in social settings, people sometimes engage in small talk as a way to avoid deeper, more vulnerable conversations. Imagine a group of colleagues who spend their lunch breaks discussing celebrity gossip or trivial office rumors. While these conversations might provide temporary entertainment, they do little to build trust or camaraderie. Now compare this to a team that uses their lunch breaks to discuss shared goals, personal experiences, or strategies for professional growth. The second group not only strengthens their relationships but also creates a more supportive and productive work environment. This example highlights the opportunity cost of idle chatter. While it may feel harmless in the moment, it often represents a missed opportunity for meaningful engagement. By being intentional about our speech, we can use conversations to foster connection, understanding, and growth. From a psychological perspective, idle chatter can serve as a coping mechanism for discomfort with silence or a way to avoid confronting deeper issues. People may fill conversations with meaningless words to distract themselves from feelings of loneliness, anxiety, or insecurity. However, this avoidance only provides temporary relief and can leave individuals feeling unfulfilled. Idle chatter can also contribute to mental clutter. Just as a cluttered environment makes it harder to focus, a mind filled with trivial thoughts and conversations struggles to find clarity and purpose. By reducing idle chatter, we can create mental space for reflection, creativity, and intentional action. The Buddhist teachings on idle chatter invite us to reflect on the purpose and impact of our words. Before speaking, consider these questions. Is this conversation meaningful or necessary? Am I adding value to this interaction, or am I speaking out of habit or boredom? How will my words affect the listener and myself? Practicing mindful speech does not mean avoiding casual conversations altogether. Instead, it means being intentional about the content and purpose of our words. For example, instead of engaging in superficial small talk, one might ask open-ended questions that encourage deeper dialogue, such as, what has been inspiring you lately? What challenges are you currently facing, and how can I support you? These types of questions not only foster meaningful connections but also provide an opportunity for mutual growth and understanding. Here are 4 practical steps to reduce idle chatter. 1. Embrace silence. Learn to be comfortable with silence, both in conversations and in your own thoughts. Silence can create space for deeper reflection and understanding. 2. Set intentions. Before entering a conversation, take a moment to reflect on what you hope to achieve or contribute. 3. Practice active listening. Focus on truly hearing what others are saying, rather than planning your next response. This reduces the tendency to fill gaps with idle chatter. 4. Limit distractions. Reduce time spent on activities that encourage superficial communication, such as scrolling through social media without purpose. Idle chatter may seem less harmful than lying, divisive speech, or harsh words, but it still has a cumulative effect on our relationships and personal growth. Together, the Buddhist teachings on speech remind us of the profound impact our words have, not just on others but also on our own minds and hearts. By speaking truthfully, kindly, and purposefully, we can create harmony within ourselves and our communities. As we come to the end of this journey through the Buddhist teachings on mindful speech, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. The words we choose to speak carry immense power. They can build bridges of understanding or tear them down. They can nurture compassion or fuel conflict. The 4 unwholesome types of speech: lying, divisive speech, harsh words, and idle chatter are habits we may unknowingly fall into, but they are also habits we have the power to change. Imagine a world where every word spoken is intentional, kind, and meaningful. That world begins with us, with a simple act of pausing before we speak and asking, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? When we approach communication with mindfulness, we not only transform our relationships but also create a ripple effect of positivity that extends far beyond ourselves. Words are like seeds. When sown with care, they grow into trust, understanding, and peace. I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you find yourself about to speak, take a moment to reflect on the intention behind your words. Are you speaking to connect, to heal, or to inspire? Or are you speaking out of anger, jealousy, or habit? That single moment of mindfulness can change the course of a conversation and maybe even a life. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of mindful speech. Your time and attention are truly appreciated, and we hope these teachings resonate with you long after this video ends. If you found value in this discussion, please consider subscribing to Buddha's Odyssey for more content that nourishes the mind and spirit. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Before we go, let me leave you with a blessing. May you be well. May you be happy. And may you live in peace, always. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again in our next video. Until then, take care and let your words light the way.